dog can't be here, Detective.
He's on active duty.
It's not a request. I use live animals in my act.
Yeah, and I'm trying to solve the murder of a fellow magician, Mr. Dwyer.
If you're gonna be here, sign this. It's an NDA, so you don't tell anyone what you've seen here. My own mother had to sign one. Just don't scare the animals, okay, big guy?
Could have sworn I had a pen.
Check with Rex. Apparently you can teach an old dog new tricks.
You really think this is a good idea right now?
It's a joke, Detective.
Hello, sir. How are you today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for the time. So there's so many questions I have, but let's start, of course, with Hudson Rex. So you're appearing as Talon in the episode. What was that like?
Oh, it was a blast. I mean, the whole crew and the cast, everyone was just so nice and professional, and it was such a good environment. It was one of those projects that, you know, you get sad when the filming is done.
What did they ask from you? So you obviously do a bit of magic in the episode. What did they ask you going into it?
So I was I guess, essentially playing more of like a suspicious version of myself, if you will. And yeah, and there's magic sort of sprinkled throughout the episode, so I helped with some of that as well, a bit on like the magic and technique side and how all that sort of works. So I was sort of involved in little bits throughout the whole episode, and it was really fun.
Is this, what is this like going into a TV show to do magic? How is that different from obviously doing it in a regular environment for you?
Well, to be honest, it's actually much less stressful because as a magician, you practice and you rehearse to, you got to get it right on the first time. And if something goes wrong, then you just look like a horrible magician, but not having to do it live. It's a bit more breathing room, right? And you can record it as many times until you get that perfect sort of take. And it's a nice position to be in as a live magician.
Is this something you'd like to do more of? Because I mean, it must be kind of liberating doing a TV show where you also get to kind of play a role on top of everything.
Yeah, 100%. This is definitely something I would love to do more of. And it's nice too, because a lot of times, like, I'll, consult on something, but not actually in it. And this was sort of both of those things. So it was cool to, to work on the magic and then also be in the show as well.
And it's great that it's, obviously Canadian homegrown, show that it's also huge around the world. So it's fascinating to see you joining this.
Yeah, it's cool too, because I guess, well, obviously the air times are a little bit different. So I guess season 3 just started I think in the UK and Scotland and whatnot. So when I made that, I made a post earlier about the episode coming out, and then some people from the UK were messaging me and stuff. So yeah, it's cool.
What's the best part of being on Hudson Rex? Was there a moment that you really appreciated?
Honestly, the crew and the cast, it was such pros and so nice, and it wasn't at all like, especially a lot of times going to do a live show, there can be this sort of energy or dynamic that's a little bit tense because everybody's working towards the same thing, and it starts at this time and everything needs to be perfect by this time. But in this type of environment, obviously they're on season 3, so they have this down to a science. And I, came in at the end, so it was just a great environment overall. Creative people, like-minded people, and everyone was just so nice and such a pleasure to work with.
Did you get to play with Rex?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I didn't realize there was more than one Rex. So yeah, and that was actually fascinating too, to see the dog and how it knows what to do, and it just like the handler shows the dog once and then it does it, and it was just like, I can barely get my dog to come when he's called.
Diesel is a pro. I've talked to a few cast over the years, and they just the love for Diesel is wonderful, and especially the whole team kind of helping there, I guess.
Yeah, and it's cool to see sort of like behind the scenes, if you will, of shooting a scene with the dog, and having the handler sort of out of frame and giving it commands and whatnot, and then to see the episode and see sort of how they weave it all together. It's really neat.
The other thing here is, have you been to St. John's before? What was that like?
Yeah. So some of my family's from St. John's. My
Oh,
dad lived
really?
in St. John's when he was a kid for a little while. So I'd been there before, but not recently. And I totally forgot how beautiful the city is. It's just so picturesque. I could see why people would move there and live there. It's beautiful. Is that where you are?
No, I'm in Toronto. I
Oh,
grew
okay.
up on the East Coast, mind you, but I've only been to St. John's once. So but
Where where'd you
it's a
grow
beautiful
up?
city. In New Brunswick, in near Fredericton.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah. The other thing here is you've performed at Hollywood's Magic Castle, and
Yeah,
I don't know if everyone realizes what a big deal that is.
the Magic Castle is such a unique place. It's like there's nowhere else like it in the world, and nowhere else has ever been able to sort of replicate what the castle has. And the first time I did it, I was under 18, so I legally wasn't even really supposed to be in the building. And so that was like pretty cool to be in there underage but performing. And it's such. Have you ever been there?
I haven't. I've always wanted to go, but I haven't had a chance yet.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's just like this old mansion with different rooms and magic stuff all over the place, shows, and it's cool. It's really neat.
Is it? It must be a really special vibe to be able to perform there, though, too. To I guess be recognized essentially.
Yeah, and it's well, I remember the first time I was like mind blown, and I was so excited. Same with the second time, but it's the first time you go there, because I hadn't been there before. I had performed there the first time, so it was just this like it was like waiting for Christmas Day, basically.
That's cool. What do you think is your greatest trick so far? Is there one that you'd say is your big one?
I would say sort of what kind of set everything in motion for me was the act that I do with birds. So that's actually what I performed at the Magic Castle as well. So I'd been working on that routine since I was 14, 15 kind of thing, if not younger. And then I went on Britain's Got Talent, and then that video ended up going around the internet like crazy, and it just totally changed my life. So that's one of those things that or one of the acts that will always be like sort of my number one go-to.
What do you think is the least understood part of being a stage magician?
How unglamorous it is behind the scenes. Yeah, and the thing with it too is a lot of times like I find that the way that it works, like a lot of the methods of some of these illusions or tricks are so fascinating that I almost wish I could share that. Like where it's like, look how cool this is, or you wouldn't believe that this works this way, but that's the price you pay, I guess, is you can't share that side. But sometimes the method and the way that these illusions work is just as fascinating as the trick itself.
What do you think of these characters who give away secrets?
There's sort of two frames of mind with that. One is like I never like when like there's a video online that's step by step revealing someone's act. But on the other side of the coin, like when the Masked Magician guy came out back in the day, I don't remember if you remember that show, but the guy who wore the mask and revealed all the
Yeah,
secrets, that sort of put a pressure on kind of magicians to think outside of the box and create new material and develop more and sort of take it up a notch. And obviously that guy was like lambasted by the magic community, and rightfully so. But there's a time and a place, I guess. Like nowadays, if a kid is interested in magic, he can go on YouTube, learn a few things, and that could spark the next greatest magician. So I'm sort of on the fence. Like I don't like people who just straight up expose someone's like material that they've worked their whole life on. But on the other side, if there's someone's got a YouTube channel that's teaching sleight of hand or teaching different things like that, I can get on board with that.
that's cool. So last thing I'd like to know is what's your dream? Like, is there something you've been working towards that you still want to work towards that you want to either incorporate into one of your shows or something that you want to do?
In terms of like the creative side of things, like that's basically the job is like constantly coming up with new ideas and working on new material and developing that way. But career wise, it's the dream was always just to make a living doing magic, and thankfully I've never had to get a real job. So I guess I could say I'm living my dream right now.
That's amazing. Not many people can say that, really. I mean, you know, it's a rare thing to be able to say that you're doing what you love.
Absolutely. And that, that's probably the biggest thing I would preach to anyone is that, if I can figure out how to turn being a magician into a career, there's no reason why, people can't find something that makes them happy to be their job.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for the time. It was
Hey,
a
my
pleasure
pleasure.
chatting. All the best. I hope to see you in more TV.
Oh, thank you. Then hopefully I'll be on some more TV. So,
Awesome. Well, have a great day and all the best.
hey, thanks for your time. Pleasure chatting with you.